I've been making Skyrim builds for years and years, and there were always two builds that I got asked to make and never did. Necromage and a Punch Cat build. But today I present to you both of those builds in one. That's right, this is a Necromage Punch Cat. To start off, we have the main skills of Restoration and Heavy Armour. Restoration is the most important skill as you want to get the Necromage perk as soon as possible. In fact, you need to get it before just about anything else. I'm serious here, you need to power level Restoration up to 70 right at the start of the game and spend the points to get the Necromage perk. Do not get any other perks before this. Once you do have the Necromage perk, and have become a vampire, you can then start investing in the Heavy Armour skill tree. Here it's basically a case of the more points you invest the better. I did some testing to find that both well-fitted and matching set work with our equipment, so go for both of them. On the other side of the skill tree you can go all the way up to conditioning to make yourself more mobile in your armour, however the Fist of Steel perk is of course the most important one to get. This adds on the base armour value of your gauntlets onto your unarmed attacks, and is one of many ways we're upping our damage to be crazy strong. In our minor skills we have Block and Alchemy. In Block there are two key perks to unlock, Quick Reflexes and Deflect Arrows. The latter will help you to safely close the distance on enemy archers by negating their attacks, and the former will let you avoid power attacks, which are often deadly on higher difficulties. Final skill of the build is Alchemy. Due to our vampiric nature, we don't regenerate anything while in sunlight, so crafting potions to restore health, magicka, and maybe even stamina is a good idea. I went with putting my extra points into the Alchemist and Physician perks. On to Standing Stone, where we have the Lord Stone. As with basically everything in this build, make sure to equip this after you've become a Necromage Vampire in order to get a great boost to both armour and magic resistance. When levelling as this build, I put everything into health. I knew I was going to be in the thick of combat most of the time, so wanted to be able to take as many hits as possible. When it comes to powers, you are a vampire, so you can go for Vampire Lord if you wish, but honestly, there weren't any powers I went for. I neglected to get Dragons active on this character, but if you choose to do so, then I could see Whirlwind Sprint being incredibly helpful for closing the distance on enemies. This character has to be a Khajiit in order to get the most unarmed damage, so you do also get Night Eye from the start, worth considering as playing at night is best for the character too. There are no weapons for this build per se, instead your weapon would technically be the gauntlets you wear, the Fists of Randagulf. This unique item was added with Anniversary Edition and is built for an unarmed character, adding 20% more damage to both melee and unarmed attacks. They also let you block 20% more damage with your shield, so doing a good job on the defensive too. For the rest of the armour, we have Steel Soldier armour, boots and helmet. However, these aren't the standard unenchanted version, instead being the pre-enchanted set you get from the Over the Edge quest. This alternative armour set is a perfect aesthetic fit in my opinion, and the effects end up being so helpful. The armour gives you a bunch of magic resist, the boots some stamina regen, and the helmet completely negates the weakness to fire that vampires get, and then some. I also went with the Shield of Ysgramor for the shield choice, as it fits to the look of the character, which we all know is the most important thing. I mean, it's also got two really solid enchantments, but that's barely relevant compared to not clashing with our style. An item where the effects are the most important element is the Ring of the Beast, a unique vampire ring which grants you 100 extra health and 20 more points unarmed damage. This isn't limited to vampire form, meaning you're getting both these incredible buffs all of the time. Onto the necklace, where I went with the Locket of St. Jub, for a healthy boost to both carry capacity and stamina. And finally, I threw on the Adventurer backpack, for even more stamina and carry capacity. One thing that's worth noting is that all the numbers you see here are actually lower than what you'll be getting. Necromage Vampires just basically get all of these effects at an even greater magnitude. And being a Necromage Vampire means we're going to want to be joining the Volkihar Vampires. As with the Necromage perk, this is a priority. You want to have become a vampire before getting any other perks or permanent buffs. And once you are a vampire, might as well get all the associated quests done. Before you do become a vampire though, you're going to need to power level Restoration. And a great faction for that is, surprisingly enough, the Companions. Just let the rest of the companions do the heavy lifting for you while you hold back and heal up throughout the adventures. You'll probably do the most healing while accompanied by Farkas, because he sucks so bad, and will both not be able to kill anyone fast, and also need a ton of healing himself. As I've said many times before, Farkas sucks. But this faction will be crucial for getting your shield, so going through them early is a good shout, seeing as you can't be a werewolf and a vampire at the same time. As for quests, there's a couple for equipment and one for flavour. For equipment, you need to head to Dragonbridge, go to the pub, and pick up the Over the Edge quest in order to get your pre-enchanted armour. Then you can head to the pub in Windhelm for Caught in a Web, a quest with a much stronger final boss, but will reward you with your unique gauntlets, boosting you no end. And for a bit of flavour, beat everyone up. And by that I mean try and complete all of the brawls within Skyrim. There's a total of 16 brawls I'm aware of, so there's something to keep you busy. And for a lot of those brawls, you can earn yourself a follower. Ulfgerd, Kosnacht and Benor are all followers you can gain by fighting them, which makes for a solid fit. However, the absolute cowards refuse to fight with their fists, so you may instead wish to travel solo in order to show off how strong you are. Speaking of which, the playstyle for this character is to punch stuff. Everything in fact. Nothing can withstand your punching power. But obviously there's more to this build than just that. There's a fair few steps here, and the first one really is to sort yourself out as a necromage vampire. Power level restoration while going through the companions, and make sure to pay for restoration training. Do not get any perks until you've hit 70 in restoration, and as soon as you do, get the necromage perk and then complete the first Dawnguard quest and side with the vampires at the end. After you've done that, you can start working on the build, and become the strongest unarmed character to ever grace Skyrim. I'll have left a link to a post of the Skyforge all about becoming a necromage vampire in the description if you want more details about it. Once that's done, things get pretty easy. Gather your equipment and then punch your enemies. Punching speed is very reasonable, however your reach isn't great, so you'll need to get up close to your foes. Your shield will do a good job of guarding you up until that point though, and if you get hit, your high restoration spell will help you restore your missing HP. The build is actually rather strong, while not needing any high investment in crafting skills. All my footage was on master difficulty and I was having an easy time with things. On legendary you'd have to be a bit more careful with your health bar, be a little bit more liberal with potion use, but that's about it. The only real criticism I have with this build is that I didn't get a single kill cam in all of my time testing it. Like, not even one. The thing I was most looking forward to with an unarmed character was to see some cool cinematic shots which I don't normally get to witness, but I couldn't even get one to appear. I'll be honest, a little pissed off about it, but hopefully the game will be more generous with you than it was with me. This necromantic punchcat has long sought to prove himself as the strongest fighter in all of Tamriel. Back in Elsewhere, he would regularly brawl with other Khajiit to prove himself stronger than them. While he could easily take on any of his peers, he would often lose against more experienced warriors he encountered. He decided that he wasn't becoming strong enough in his homeland, and sought to travel around Tamriel, brawling anyone he could to improve his fighting skill. After many years of this, he found himself in the Imperial City, where he fought in the arena, beating a trio of brothers with only his fists in such a devastating flurry of attacks that he earned the nickname the Flurry of Bros. After this, he felt that Cyrodiil had sent their best warriors against him, so he travelled north, looking for a greater foe and new strength in the northern realm of Skyrim. It was here that he stumbled across a group of Imperial soldiers who viewed his constant request to fight in a worse light than he had intended, and ended up being arrested by them and sent to Helgen. Once free from this unfortunate encounter, he will seek out more worthy foes, and try and find out how he can become stronger than anyone in Tamriel has ever been. And there we have it. May have taken a good few years, but I finally have both a full unarmed build on the channel and a necromage. I've also done a shorter backstories for the past couple of builds, so let me know what you think about that. Do you prefer the more condensed and straightforward character backstories, or do you prefer the longer journeys? Either way, do subscribe for more Skyrim builds, and check out the playlist of all my past builds too. As always, thanks for watching. Sarge out.